Today we will learn some more concepts regarding questions on time and work which are very important from your examination point of view. Questions on time and work basically make use of unitary method. So the underlying method for solving these questions is unitary method. So you should be thorough with unitary method to solve these problems. For example, if there is a piece of work and we have 10 men do this work in 20 days, then this implies that one man can do 1/10 of the work in 20 days. And this also implies that one man can do 1/200, that is 10 multiplied by 20, of work in how many days? In 1 day. And this also implies that 10 men can do 1/20th of the work in 1 day. And this also implies that 200 men will finish this work, that means one work, complete piece of work, in 1 day. Here, instead of finding one person's work in 1 day in fractions, we can use one more method. In this method, we assume that total work is equal to LCM of days in which two persons finish their work individually. This will lead to non-fractional values for their 1 day's work, and non-fractional values are easier to handle with. Let's understand this with the help of an example. Here we have a question. A boy can do a piece of work in 5 days, but with his friend's help, he can do it in 3 days. In what time can his friend do the work alone? So here we have to find in what time can his friend do the work alone. So let's analyze what is given in the question. It is given in the question that we have a boy. So let us suppose this boy is finishing a piece of work in 5 days. And this boy, that means this boy here, is taking the help of his friend. Both are doing the work together, and when they do the work together, they can finish the work in 3 days. Naturally, now the number of days taken will be less. Next thing here is that we should find the LCM of 5 and 3. So we know that LCM of 5 and 3 will be, you can calculate it, LCM of 5 and 3 will be 15. Once we've got the LCM as 15, we can assume that the total work was 15 units. So this was the total work, and the boy alone, the boy in question here, can complete this 15 units of work in 5 days. This is given. And when he takes the help of his friend, then both of them can do the work in 3 days. So if the boy in question is completing the work alone in 5 days and total work we are considering it to be 15 units, then in 1 day, this boy will complete 3 units of work. This is for 1 day. And when they are doing it together, both the boys in 1 day will do 15 by 3, that is 5 units of work. So this is important here. This is an important step. Now we can see that alone the boy is doing 3 units of work in one day, and when his friend also joins him, both of them together are doing 5 units. So very easily we can calculate that out of these 5 units, 3 units are for the boy and 2 units are for his friend. So if we talk about the friend, let's say we have his friend here. He is completing 2 units of work in one day. And what we have to find here is that in what time can his friend do the work alone. So he's doing 2 units in one day and total work is 15 units. So the time taken by the friend, so this is friend, time of friend, to complete 15 units of work will be 15 by 2 days, and we can convert this into mixed fractions. That will be 7 by 2 days. Let's take one more interesting example. Here in this example it is given that P and Q can do a piece of work in 12 days. Q and R can do this piece of work in 15 days. R and P can do this piece of work in 20 days. What we have to find out here is how long would all of them take together to do the same work. And second, what we have to find here is, that is the B part, how long would each take separately to do the same piece of work. So let's solve this question. Let's analyze the information which is given in the question. The question says P plus Q can finish the work in 12 days. Then it is given that Q plus R can finish the work in 15 days. And information is given about R and P also. R and P can finish the piece of work in 20 days. So for P and Q, when they're working together, one day's work will be 1 by 12th of the total. For Q and R, when they're working together, one day's work will be 1 by 15, and for R and P it will be 1 by 20th of the total work. So we can say that P plus Q's one day work is 1 by 12, Q plus R's one day work is 1 by 15, and R plus P's one day work is 1 by 20. And if we add these three, so on adding these three, we will have P plus Q plus Q plus R plus R plus P is equal to, and writing these, that is 1 by 12 plus 1 by 15 plus 1 by 20. This implies each term is being repeated here 2 times, so taking 2 out, inside we can have P plus Q plus R is equal to 1 by 12 plus 1 by 15 plus 1 by 20. So this implies twice of P plus Q plus R will be equal to, here we can take the LCM as 60. So this will be 5 plus 4 plus 3, that is equal to 12 by 60, that is equal to 1 by 5. This implies that P plus Q plus R, their work in one day will be taking this 2 to the other side, and so this will become 1 by 5 multiplied by 2 is equal to 1 by 10. So P plus Q plus R in one day can finish 1/10 of the work. So this will imply if in one day they can finish 1/10 of the work, P plus Q plus R together will finish the work in 10 days. So this is one of the things which we have to find in the question. So it is also given in the question that we have to find how long will it take for all of them to complete the work if they work together. Also, in the second part of the question, we have to find out if they work individually, that means P alone, Q alone and R alone, how long will it take for them to complete the work. So what we'll do here is that it is given here, or rather we found out that P plus Q plus R is equal to 1 by 10. That means together the three of them finish 1/10 of work in one day, and also P plus Q is 1 by 12. So P plus Q is equal to 1 by 12. So this is 1 day's work of P, Q and R, and this is 1 day's work of P and Q together. So if from 1 by 10 we subtract 1 by 12, we'll get 1 day's work of R. So R's 1 day work will be 1 by 10 minus 1 by 12. Taking the LCM as 60, this becomes 6 minus 5 is equal to 1 by 60. So this means that R can finish in 1 day 1/60th of the work. So that would imply that R alone, that means if he's working alone, will finish the complete piece of work in 60 days. Similarly, just writing here in separately here, we know that P plus Q plus R is equal to 1 by 10 and Q plus R is 1 by 15. So Q plus R is equal to 1 by 15. So from here we can get the work of P in 1 day. That will be equal to 1 by 10 minus 1 by 15. This implies that P here will be equal to 1 by 30. So this implies that P alone can finish work in 30 days. And we found out for R, we found out for P, we can find this for Q also. Doing the same thing for Q, once again writing P plus Q plus R is equal to 1 by 10th. And R plus P we have found out to be 1 by 20. So from here, this implies that Q's work in 1 day is 1 by 10 minus 1 by 20, and this will come as, so this implies Q will come as 1 by 20. That means Q alone can finish this piece of work in 20 days. Now this is one method of doing this question. We can have one more method of doing this question. Let's see how. And this is the shortcut method. So what we will do here is, this was given in the question that P and Q complete the work in 12 days, Q and R complete the work in 15 days, and R and P complete the work in 20 days. So what we'll do is, we'll find the LCM of 12, 15 and 20. We'll find their LCM, and when we calculate their LCM comes as 60. So now we will say, suppose that total work, that means the work which has to be accomplished here, is equal to this units. That means 60, which is the LCM. So 60 units is the total work. And here if we make one more column, and let's say this column is 1 day's work. So this is one more column here, that is 1 day's work. So if P and Q can complete the work in 12 days, then 1 day's work of P and Q will be 60 by 12, that is 5 units. Similarly, 1 day's work of Q and R will be 4 units, that is 60 by 15. And 1 day's work of R and P will be 60 by 20, that is 3 units. Now if we add these two parts, so this will mean that on adding these two, we will have P plus Q plus Q plus R plus R plus P is equal to 5 plus 4 plus 3. So this will imply twice of P plus Q plus R is equal to 12, and this implies P plus Q plus R is equal to 12 by 2, that is 6. So from here, this means that P, Q and R alone in one day will accomplish 6 units of work. So that would mean, and total, we have seen that we are supposing total units of work is 60 units. So this implies rather P plus Q plus R together will finish the work in 60 by 6 equal to 10 days. So together they will finish the work in 10 days. From this method, we also have to find out that how long will it take for them to complete the work individually. So for finding how long will they take individually to complete the work, we have P plus Q plus R in one day can complete 6 units of the work, and we have already found out that P plus Q, that means P and Q in one day can complete 5 units of work. So from here very easily we can find that if we subtract the 2, so P and Q will get cancelled, R will complete in one day 1 unit of work, and since there are 60 units, so for R it will take 60 days to complete the work. Similarly, we've also found out that Q and R in one day can finish 4 units of work. So this also we've calculated. Q plus R is equal to 4 units. So if we subtract the 2, we'll get from here that P will complete 6 minus 4, that is 2 units of work in one day. So this implies that P will take 60 by 2, that is 30 days to complete the work. And also, we've also seen that R plus P, that means R and P together, will complete 3 units of work in one day. From here, we can conclude that Q will finish 6 minus 3, that means 3 units of work in one day. So that would imply Q will take 60 by 3, that means 20 days to complete this piece of work alone. Let's do one more example. P and Q together can do a piece of work in 12 days, which Q and R together can do in 16 days. After P has been working at it for 5 days and Q for 7 days, R takes up and finishes it alone in 13 days. In how many days could each do the work by himself? So we have to find that in how many days, if they work separately, they can complete the work. That is P, Q and R. Let's see how we go about doing this question. So P plus Q's one day work here will be 1 by 12, as it is given they can finish the work in 12 days. So this will be 1 by 12, and Q and R's one day work will be 1 by 16th of the total work. So according to the question, P's 5 days work plus Q's 7 days work plus R's 13 days work is equal to 1 work. So we can split it here. This implies that P's 5 days work plus, so here we can split Q's work. So Q's 7 days can be split as 5 days plus Q's 2 days. So together they'll make 7 days plus we can split hours work also. So hours work will be hours 2 day plus hours 11 days. This will be equal to 1 work. We can keep this together and this together and this separately. So this can be now written as P plus Q 5 days plus Q plus R 2 days plus R 11 days is equal to 1. So this will imply, now we know that P plus Q's 1 day work is 1 by 12th. So 5 days work will be 5 by 12 plus Q and R's 2 day work will be 2 by 16 plus R's 11 day work is equal to 1. From here we can easily calculate that R's 11 day work will be 1 minus 5 by 12 minus 1 by 8. That will come as 11 by 24. You can do this, you can calculate this. So this implies R's 11 days work is 11 by 24. So 1 day work of R will be 11 by 24 divided by 11. So this implies here we will have R, this is R's 1 day work rather, will be equal to 11 by 24 multiplied by 1 by 11. 11 and 11 gets cancelled. So this is 1 by 24th of the work R finishes in 1 day. This implies that R alone, so if R is working alone, R alone can finish the work in 24 days. So here we have found out that R's 1 day work is 1 by 24, and right at the beginning we've said that 1 day work of Q and R is 1 by 16. So just let me write it down here. R's 1 day work we found out to be 1 by 24. So if from 1 by 16 we subtract 1 by 24, we'll get Q's 1 day work. So Q's 1 day work will be 1 by 16 minus 1 by 24. If this is calculated, this comes as 1 by 48. So in 1 day, Q can finish 1 by 48th of the work. So Q alone, here Q alone will take 48 days to finish the work. So this also we had to find in the question. Now we've got here Q's 1 day work is 1 by 48. And this also we have P plus Q in 1 day is 1 by 12th. So from here we can find P's 1 day work. So P's 1 day work will be equal to 1 by 12 minus 1 by 48. And when this is calculated, this can come as 1 by 16. So that means from here, P alone can finish this piece of work in 16 days. So in this question, we found separately in how many days can P, Q and R finish this piece of work. Let's look at one more method of doing this question. So it is given in the question that P and Q can finish the work in 12 days and Q and R can finish the work in 16 days. So here we will find the LCM of 12 and 16. So LCM of 12 and 16 when found out comes as 48. So we'll suppose that total work here is 48 units. So total work is 48 units, and if P and Q can finish this work in 12 days, so 1 day work of P and Q together will be 48 by 12, that is 4 units. And same for Q and R will be 48 by 16, that is 3 units. So in the previous method we'd formed this equation. Once again making use of this equation, that means P and Q's 5-day work plus Q and R's 2-day work plus 11 days work of R is equal to 1. So this implies now P plus Q's 5-day work will mean 5 multiplied by 4, that is 20 units, plus Q and R's 2-day work will mean 6 units, and plus 11 days work of R, that will make up 48 units. So work here has been considered to be 48 units. Now very easily we can find out here 20 plus 6 is 26 units, plus R's 11-day work is equal to 48 units. This implies R's 11-day work will be equal to 22 units. So this implies R's 11-day work is 22 units. So R's 1-day work will be equal to 22 by 11, that is equal to 2 units. So R in 1 day finishes 2 units of work and total work is 48 units. That means R will take, that means alone R will take 48 divided by 2 equal to 24 days to complete the work alone. So now it becomes very easy. We found out that R's 1-day work is 2 units and Q plus R's 1-day work is 3 units. So from here, if we subtract R's 1-day work from this, so we will get Q's 1-day work. So Q's 1-day work will be from this 3, we will subtract this 2. So that is equal to 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. So that means Q can finish 1 unit of work in 1 day, and if there are total 48 units of work, so this implies that Q alone will take 48 days to complete this work. Same thing we can do for this also. It is given that P plus Q can complete in 1 day 4 units of work, and we found out that Q's 1-day work is 1 unit. So that means P's 1-day work will be this 4 units minus 1 unit is equal to 3 units. And this is 1-day work of P. So if P can finish 3 units of work in 1 day, then P will take, total amount of work is 48 units, 48 divided by 3 equal to 16 days to finish the work alone.